Welcome all of you. We will have a brief discussion about on advocacy. What is advocacy? Advocacy is nothing but making policies in favor of the poor. Advocacy is making policy in favor of the powerless and disadvantaged. So this otherwise means it's a misfavor to the power holders, elite and advantaged. Advocacy is modifying the policy, making changes, updating policy. Any change in policy making for the benefit of the poor is advocacy. It may be a modification of an existing policy, or it may be framing a new policy for the benefit of the poor. So in the context of advocacy, NGOs are empowering, mobilizing, educating, motivating and enlightening to go for advocacy. So advocacy is like a war without blood. It's an intellectual war to influence the policy makers. In our country, there are many examples. Rajaram Mohan Roy's initiative is an outstanding example. Mahatma Gandhi's intervention is an outstanding example. So advocacy has been practiced in our country from olden days. It is designed to persuade and influence those who hold governmental, political or economic power. This is the Advocacy Institute propagates. So this is to influence the decision makers to design, adopt and change policies and practices in furtherance of our mandate. This is the Oxfam, a very popular NGO, a very quality NGO is explaining such way. In the context, the Action Aid needs to be mentioned. Action Aid has made a lot of researches on advocacy, influences, and made several publications also about advocacy with the reference to people. It may be influencing a grassroots level village administrative officer. It may be influencing to the highest authority, the Prime Minister of the country also. So when I say about advocacy, immediately the term policy comes. What is meant by policy? Policy is nothing but a government chooses to do and not to do. It's a statement of ideals. It's a statement of a given government or a given company or a given organization to do, and it is a statement of certain guidelines what to do and what not to do. So when these what to do and what not to do are favorable to the people, it's a pro-people policy. Then what to do and what not to do are not pro-people. It may be bureaucratic, there may be bureaucratic barriers. It may be power barriers. It is not inaccessibility to the people. If there are some barriers, and these policies need to be changed and modified for the benefit of the people. So advocacy point of view, there are three levels of advocacy. One is legislative advocacy. The legislative body in any country make the policy. In the context of India, every state government has a state assembly. The state assembly passes resolutions and enacts policies. So also in the central government, the government makes policies. So these NGOs and volunteers are influencing policy. In this country now, this anti-corruption movement has become a big advocacy campaign. the Anna Hazare, and several other volunteers, several other people with goodwill for the nation. They all organize people and try to change policy. The People's Court, the People's Court is another important initiative on advocacy. So they want to influence policy. So this is advocacy in terms of the legislative things. I would say from the NGO point of what they have achieved. Through advocacy, the unregistered self-help groups are recognized by the banking sector for credit assistance. So these NGO, for example, the Mairada, NGO working in Dharmaburi district, predominantly in Tamil Nadu area, was the pioneer in influencing the government in the NABARD to recognize the self-help groups. This is a victory for the NGO sector to influence, and unregistered self-help groups can be financed. This is advocacy. This is called legislative advocacy. The second component is bureaucratic advocacy. So bureaucrats are powerful. They themselves can make lot of changes within the framework. We have some good bureaucrats also. I understand there are certain secretaries to government who even influence the chief minister because of their goodwill and intellectual understanding of the people's problem. They sensitively reflect the people's issues to the ministers, chief ministers and prime ministers, and policies are influenced. So these NGOs can go to the bureaucrats and explain the grassroots realities with scientific researches and observations. So with these definite data collected from the people, with the social research conducted by the NGOs, they are able to influence the bureaucrats as well as the legislature also. The third one is legal related advocacy. Now, thanks for forming the Right to Information Act and PIL, public interest litigation, all these things, that they can legally approach and issue and influence the policy. So advocacy point of view, the one is influence the policy in favor of the poor. There is one form. The another form is behavioral change advocacy. In this, people have a lot of campaign. Now the Swachh Bharat, Clean India has become a movement. Everywhere people talk about, and behavioral change, clean India, clean country, clean street, clean village, green state, all these things become a campaign. So this is a behavioral change. Smoke-free country advocacy, this is a behavioral change advocacy. HIV-free country, this is behavioral change advocacy. So gender-friendly society, a girl-child-friendly society, no dowry, all these things, subjects are concerned, these things are behavioral change related advocacy. So advocacy component 1, influencing policy, and the form 2 is behavioral advocacy. Both are meant for bring about a social change and development for the benefit of the disadvantaged. Thank you.